Yeah, you could actually see the race.
It's crazy how that works out.
It felt like a weird fever dream. Like, oh wait,
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Brad, and with me, as always, is John, and this is Race Car Spelled Backwards Gen 2, episode 92.
Yep.
John, 3 episodes now.
I know. I'm racking them up already.
How's it feel? You feel like a professional yet?
I do, with the microphone and all.
Microphone was a dead giveaway?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It does make you feel legit.
Yeah, when you get the whole setup coming down in front of you, it is.
Yeah, makes everything feel real.
Yeah.
I'm a legit podcaster, YouTuber, whatever we are.
I don't know.
Hey, we're just making it. We're getting by.
Yep.
So this is episode 92, coming off a Martinsville race. Well, a Martinsville weekend. I really hate to call it a race.
It's disrespectful to all the previous good Martinsville races.
You know what it reminded me of? When I was younger, we used to go to Bristol every year.
Yeah.
And before any of the races would start, they would do a holler parade through downtown Bristol, and then it would come up through the campground, right around the campground into the track.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it reminded me of, the Martinsville races.
The holler parade?
Yeah, it was like doing a parade. Which, honestly, I think might have been more interesting to watch 38 hollers run around there at 45 miles an hour. Could you imagine that?
I bet the hollers could have gone faster.
I don't know if they could have gone faster, but it would have definitely been more interesting side by side with a hauler and a trailer going around the turn.
Absolutely.
So, Martinsville, William Byron won.
Yep.
Jeff Gluck poll, I voted no. The results came out at 68% of you voted no as well, and 32% of you voted yes because you work for HMS or NASCAR.
That about sums that up.
It's the only thing that makes sense, right?
I know. There's no way 32% of people watched that race and said, I enjoyed it.
It was. I took a nap.
You did. I saw you. I walked in.
I don't ever take a nap. I never take a nap during the race. A lot of people do, and I understand why, because I was put to sleep by the race we had at Martinsville. So before we jump into the event that Martinsville held over the weekend, I want to talk about a race that wasn't boring at Martinsville. Back in the good old days, we're going to call it the glory days of 2014, the fall race in Martinsville. Man, that was a beautiful day. Dale Jr. and Steve Letarte were firing on all cylinders. Steve Letarte was crazy. Dude dropped the car at Michigan one time on a 2x4 to straighten it out because it had bent in a wreck. But when Steve Letarte was on, there was no stopping him and Dale Jr.
Oh, yeah.
That was my favorite combo for Dale Jr. was him and Stevie. So on this beautiful day, Dale Jr.'s driving that beautiful, iconic National Guard 88 car with the sparkling letters.
Got a little Hot Wheels in that one.
Yeah, it was a beautiful car. It's the same one he won Daytona at 2 a.m.
That race lasted forever.
Yeah. So 3 laps to go. Dale Jr. moves Tony Stewart up the track, takes the lead. Jeff Gordon follows right through behind him. Now, Jeff Gordon's probably one of the hardest guys to beat at Martinsville.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get by Dale. He couldn't even catch him enough to move him up the track. That's how good Dale was. Dale was better than Jeff Gordon on that day. So, to me, that was probably one of my favorite Martinsville races. We'll talk about another historical Martinsville race that Mr. Jeff Bodine won for Hendrick Motorsports 40 years ago.
Yep.
We will talk about that at some point during the show. But I sent John here a video of the 2014 fall Martinsville race with Dale Jr. winning because he was very young at the time.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't remember it. So I sent him the video to watch. One of the main things that we noticed on the video is the cameras.
Yeah. You could actually see the race.
It's crazy how that works out.
It felt like a weird fever dream. Like, oh, wait. I can actually see the cars.
Oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. Now I know what I'm missing every week. Tell you go back and watch old races. Maybe that's what Fox should do.
Just go.
For your homework this week, Fox, we want you to go back and watch any race from, let's say, 2014 back. I don't think they would.
That's too much work for them.
But that was a great race. Anywhere Dale Jr.'s won at, you can pretty much bet any amount of money that we will be talking about that as a historic race. Because for me,
it is historic.
Yeah. When Dale Jr. won, it was history.
Yeah.
Because, he is NASCAR, like we said before. And he doesn't pay us to say this. As everybody knows, he's cheap. So
yeah,
he wouldn't pay us to say this. He's just that good that we do it voluntarily. So, are you ready to jump into this?
Yep, let's do this.
At least you're not Jamie, because at this point, I think Jamie would rip the mic off, just smash it on the floor, and walk off the stage. And it would be over. It would definitely be over. We don't have but one mic.
I was about to say, you'd be missing your microphone.
I'd be by myself going, okay. Which I can talk.
Martinsville.
I can talk. We all know that.
You wouldn't be talking about Martinsville.
I don't know what I'd be talking about. I'd be asking myself questions. So, last week, NASCAR decided to fine Joey Gase $5,000 for walking down the track to throw his bumper at Dawson Cram during the Xfinity Richmond race. Do you agree with that penalty or not, John?
I don't disagree with it, but I don't like it either. Because, Joey Gase, he owns the car, got crammed in the wall by Dawson Cram. He's down like $60,000 from that wreck, right?
Yeah.
And you put a $5,000 fine on it. But at the same time, he walked down the track. NASCAR doesn't want people doing that. So you can't, so it's a whatever for me. Yep. I'm not mad, but I wish they would have looked over it. But I understand why they did it. So.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you. And I think Denny even said it on his podcast last week that, I think that's where the $60,000 came from, because I got that wrote down too. But I'm off. I think you have to do it. I'll be the first person to get on this show and scream about NASCAR's inconsistencies. They've consistently penalized drivers who walk down the track. When you get out of the car, you're supposed to walk directly to the safety vehicle and go to the infield care center.
Yep.
You're not supposed to take your helmet and Tony Stewart at somebody, or take your bumper and Joey Gase it at somebody. You just go directly to the infield care center. So, based on consistency, I have to be okay with it, right?
Right.
So, I think I'm kind of like you. I'm just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
So, last week when we talked on the show, Denny Hamlin jumping the restart, as he admitted to even doing pretty much, was the big conversation. This week, well, it's still Denny Hamlin.
Yep. It's almost always Denny.
You can count on Denny. How Denny's not the most popular driver in NASCAR is beyond me, because without Denny, we wouldn't have this to talk about.
Right.
Any of this.
Well, what would we talk about without Denny?
Clint Boyer having Kevin Harvick, the dog, fetch him a beer. I think that's what we would end up talking about.
Then I'm glad we have Denny.
I'm glad we have Denny, too. So the drama of Denny Hamlin and Marcus Smith that played out on Twitter in a late-night battle happened last Thursday night. Denny Hamlin calls the SMI, who owns about 40% of the NASCAR tracks, and Marcus Smith's the head honcho there.
Yep.
Denny calls the SMI repave of Sonoma a repave on a budget because the track is already coming apart. Marcus Smith replies with, "Coming from somebody without all the information, ignorance on display for all the world to see." He goes on to say he'll take this tweet down as soon as Denny texts him or call him to have a discussion. Well, Denny tweets him back. No reason to delete it. Denny calls him out. You don't have to delete it. We've seen your track record of repaves and reconfigurations. Marcus Smith then goes on to call Denny out for not being able to close the deal on a championship. Then Denny replies, getting even deeper, with, "Let someone else run your business before you blow what your dad has given you." They go back and forth for a few more minutes.
But that's pretty much the bulk of it right
there. That's the big part.
Yeah.
You don't have a championship. You can't close the big deal. You should sell your company before you ruin what your dad built. Yep. That's kind of where it is. At the end of the day, they both apologized somewhat. Mm-hmm. I think it wasn't like I don't feel like it was heartfelt. I just feel like it was their PR person said, "You got to do this."
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think about it?
I mean, I think Denny's right. I mean, you saw those pictures of
Oh,
the
yeah.
racetrack. I mean, you've got these big chunks coming up, and it looks like it was repaved on a budget. It looks like they went to the track with the asphalt trucks and said, all right, guys, let's put on a clean coat of asphalt and then call it a day. And then they went home. And so I think Denny was right. Yeah, good on him for kind of apologizing about bringing Marcus Smith's dad into it. Respect him for that. Didn't Marcus Smith delete his tweets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is cool.
I don't either.
That's like,
I don't think it is.
that means Denny won.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's like match point, Denny wins the Twitter battle.
Yeah. But yeah, Marcus Smith calling out Denny for not winning a championship. I do want to get into that in a minute after we talk about this, but that's a bit of a low blow considering Denny Hamlin is the 13th most winningest driver in NASCAR.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Future Hall of Famer. I mean, for me, and Denny kind of confirmed this, but it all goes back to the money. Like I've always told you, regardless of what it is for the most part, you can always trace it back to the money. Right now, the charters, and Denny owns 2 of them, are in agreement with NASCAR for more of the cut. Right now, the teams have to split 25% of the TV money
between all the teams.
Between all the teams. NASCAR gets 10%, and then the tracks get 65%. NASCAR owns roughly 60% of the tracks. Marcus Smith owns the other 40%. Obviously, the biggest cut's going to NASCAR.
Yeah.
Which
makes sense.
That's fair.
It's NASCAR.
Yeah. I mean, they earned that right. They've built this whole thing. And the next big cut goes to Marcus Smith.
Right.
Then the next big cut goes to the teams. I think the teams deserve more money.
Yeah.
I don't go to an event to watch the track. I've been to Atlanta Motor Speedway when it's empty. It's not exciting.
There's not much there.
So, I mean, you need the drivers, but I was reading the comments on all these tweets, and there's some guys who, from my research of their Twitter profile, look legit when it comes to paving, and they agreed with Denny that it's done on a budget, that it should be done differently.
Yep.
And I dug into it a little more. Well, when NASCAR takes one of their tracks and repaves it, such as Talladega, they go in and they tear up all the asphalt, recompact the dirt underneath, and start over.
Yep.
From square one. I mean, when they say it's a repave, it's a repave.
Completely.
Not a resurface.
Yeah, which is what Sonoma looks like.
Correct. Now, they've apparently fixed Sonoma, but still, like...
For now.
We've already heard rumors that they had some small minor issues at North Wilkesboro during the test on the concrete coming up, or asphalt coming up.
They had issues with Atlanta when they repaved Atlanta.
Correct. They closed Kentucky down.
Yep.
They completely destroyed Texas. Like, I don't know what I dislike more, Texas Motor Speedway or the next gen car. I don't even think a tire can fix Texas.
But the tire might be able to fix the next gen car.
It might, but it couldn't fit Texas. But I think there's, one of the things Denny said on his podcast is 100% true. He wants to know where the reinvestment of all this money's going.
Right.
Because if you leave the media center and the driver bathroom.
Not in the tracks.
Yeah. You walk up in the grandstands of the track.
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Bathrooms in Atlanta?
Concession stands. I mean, even the suite area is old, outdated.
It's outdated. It's still nice.
Yeah, you look at the tiles in the ceiling, the drop ceiling, there's water stains. Like, I've been to Daytona recently. Me and Jamie went to the 24 hours a few years in a row. You could have literally eaten off the bathroom floor. They have an Outback Steakhouse in the stands area. Go to Talladega's infield.
I remember when we went to Bristol. Bristol was nice.
Yeah, Bristol was nice, but
a lot nicer than Atlanta.
Bristol's smaller though, so it's easier to
True.
fix. Like SMI owns Bristol,
Yeah.
and
I thought Bristol was nice.
I did too. I don't. I'm not saying SMI is not upgrading all their tracks. I mean they're obviously doing some work, but
Right.
Atlanta's media center extremely nice. But if you leave the media center, like Talladega, it's the fan experience. I don't think Marcus Smith needs to go in and replace all the bathrooms and all the toilets.
Right.
But the fan experience, like you don't have at Atlanta what you have at Talladega. Talladega has the kids VIP experience. If you don't know what that is, and you have kids like Janet and Eric, you definitely should take your son to Talladega to the kids VIP experience. I mean, John, we got to meet every single Cup driver, got his autograph on a checker flag, except for Joey Logano.
Yeah, it was a win-win.
It was a win-win. It wasn't planned, but Joey went in the back door of the media center for the drivers meeting. Everybody else walked by the kids who were, I mean, they know it's a red carpet for the kids. There's kids lined up on this red carpet to meet drivers. Joey veered to the left and went in the back door. He didn't want anything to do with it.
But we were okay with that.
Completely okay with that. I would have hid the flag anyway. We don't want Joey touching
We would have
this.
scratched that one out. Actually, no. It's just when he walks by, be like, no, not you.
Not you. That would have been funny. Get that on video.
Yeah.
Not you, sir. So
next.
That's all I'm saying. Like, I would like to see more like when you go to Atlanta, they had guys on pogo sticks there 2 years ago. That was our entertainment. The fans are more entertaining to watch than the entertainment they bring. So
what was it? Was that Leprechaun?
Yeah, we had a leprechaun. We had a leprechaun in Atlanta. We had a leprechaun dancing on a cooler in Bristol. I mean, I don't know what it is about you and leprechauns, but every time I take you to a race, a leprechaun shows up.
Where's our pot of gold?
It's not at a racetrack. I can assure you that. All right, so truck race. Christian Eckes wins the Truck Series race Friday night at Martinsville in a caution-filled race. What are your thoughts on that truck race you watched, John? Because I know you watched it with me.
Yeah, I attempted to watch would be more appropriate.
Yeah.
I thought the race itself, the parts you could see, were good. Yeah. Christian Eckes strong all night. He was phenomenal on every single restart. Like at the start of the race, he who was in front? Who started on pole? I don't remember. I mean, either. Yeah. Whatever. He got into first at the start of the race, and every restart he just kept making up positions. And
he got some pit strategy, ended up sending him to the back, and he had to overcome that.
But it's okay. They wrecked 23 times, and he had 23 restarts to make all that ground back up. But he was phenomenal all night. He did a great job. But man, it was a hard race to watch on Fox's behalf.
Yeah, Fox didn't do us any favors there.
No.
I thought it was the truck race is always good, the beating and banging it.
Yeah.
There was 11 cautions in the Truck Series. I actually went and looked this up because I thought it was like 77, but I went and looked. It was 11.
It felt like 50.
The problem with the Truck Series is they always seem to have a caution towards the end. Like you're watching a race and they're flowing good, and it's like 20 laps to go. 15 caution. All right, restart, caution. Restart, caution. And next thing you know, you're at a green-white checkered, and you haven't raced in really 20 laps because all you've done is restarts. Yeah. You had Grant Enfinger in the number 9 truck. Ooh. He was on a roll, man. It's like every time the TV went to Enfinger, he got into somebody's rear end and put him in the wall.
Yep.
We're going to just call it from now on getting Enfingered because, I mean, it was horrible. You had Lane Riggs. I mean, I expected more out of Riggs because of his short track background.
Yeah. I
expected more out of him here at Martinsville, but I just think he's getting overexcited in the truck and he's making dumb moves. You know, we see it. Josh Berry makes mistakes, and that's what cost him a lot of good finishes. But we say that because they're both rookies.
Right.
You make rookie mistakes. Rookie mistakes have been happening. They call it rookie mistakes for a reason.
I mean, because you're a rookie. You make those kind of mistakes.
It's been happening since
forever.
I mean, Dale Earnhardt Sr. made rookie mistakes for like 2 races before he started winning championships. I mean, everybody – actually, I think his first season was probably a lot of rookie mistakes from what I wasn't alive. But the research I've done by listening to Dale Jr. talk about it on his podcast. So,
yeah.
Timmy Hill, Stuart Friesen had words after the race, which is nothing new. Stuart Friesen's an aggressive driver. He's a modified driver. I mean, he has no problem sticking the bumper right up your butt and spinning you out. Timmy Hill doesn't race like that, so he takes offense when anybody else races him like that. But he's a big dude.
Yeah,
I'm not messing with him. I mean, he'll whoop your butt in the Applebee's parking lot. You don't want to mess with him. Saturday night, we had the Xfinity race. Eric Almirola wins the Xfinity race in another race that resulted in 11 cautions.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No.
Same amount of cautions.
It felt like a lot more in the truck race.
Yeah, I know it did. That's why I put this in the notes, because I thought, like I said, 77 for sure in the truck race.
Yeah.
So what did you think about the Xfinity race?
I thought the Xfinity race was harder to watch than the truck race.
Yeah. Fox was on a roll this weekend.
Yeah, they were. For me, the Xfinity race, I think I had more problems with the booth than the camera work from Fox. But I don't know, just in the booth, they would, you'd see the yellow come out on the side of your screen, on the left side of your screen. You see it was yellow, and they want to talk about it for 10, 15 seconds till you saw it on TV. And then they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so wrecked again. It's like, okay, you couldn't have told us that, like they're already, the pace car's already out at this point.
We already know what happened. We've seen the replay at this point.
Yeah.
It's like they were in the middle of a thought, and they're speaking what they're thinking, Caution happens when, I think, and because this is the minor leagues, but I think your seasoned veteran broadcasters like Darrell Waltrip, Mike Joy, Larry Mack, those guys can easily transition from in the middle of a sentence to
whoa.
Exactly. Like that's
so and so is in the wall.
I mean, Clint does it best. I mean, oh no. I mean, it's there's a caution when Clint gets excited over there. So but the problem is you got Adam Alexander, who is phenomenal. I think he's a phenomenal color commentator. I really enjoy his play-by-play analysis. Then you got Ryan Blaney and Austin Cindric. Blaney has really good insight, but he's only excitable on his mic in his helmet in the middle of a race when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
That's the only time he gets excitable. Otherwise, he's just even keel, mellow Blaney.
Which is not what you want from a booth.
No, especially when you got Austin Cindric, who doesn't even have the credentials, in my opinion, to be in the booth, but Penske must have a deal worked out with Fox. Austin's same way. Even keel. He doesn't get excitable. I don't even know if he gets excitable on the racetrack, but
does he do anything exciting on the racetrack?
Not really. He won the Daytona 500 and hasn't finished good since. But, that's another story for another day. But, I mean, for me, I agree. Fox made that race a struggle. The camera work, they missed the whole wreck at the end. You had Herbst hit the wall, and then Ryan Sieg just plowed into him. And literally, Fox is showing Herbst in the wall. Ryan Sieg starts to hit him, and you're like, whoa. And as you're going, whoa, the camera flips away to watch the guy who just won the race. Like, it's one of my biggest. No, I'm not even going to go there yet with Fox. But I'm glad to see Eric win. He's always seemed like a good guy. He's not being sponsored by the Chinese anymore. I mean, I'm pulling for the guy. Brandon Jones, he missed a shift during that race, stacked him up and took out all the competition. So really all Brandon Jones had to do that day was beat his teammates. And he couldn't do that. I mean, in 2 seasons at Junior Motorsports, in the number 9 car that Josh Berry won multiple races in before Brandon got in, he's only had 3 top 5 finishes, 0 wins. His average finish last year and already this year is 17th. That's unacceptable for me. Like, if you're going to be a Junior Motorsports driver, your average finish needs to be like 12th or better. And if it is going to be 17th, you need to back that up with 2 or 3 wins a year,
Right.
You can't go out there and run mediocre. Shout out to Carson Quaffle. I mean, if you're not putting him in the number 9 next year, then you're crazy, Dale. I mean, he finished 5th. He outrun Brandon Jones, who's out there running on his Ream money. So,
first Xfinity race.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Quaffle's We saw him win
at Wilkesboro.
Yeah, so I mean, he won
the late model.
The best race I've ever attended in my life. It's the Field of Dreams moment, like for racing, not even NASCAR. It's just they built it and we all came. There were so many people crammed into that facility. It was amazing.
It was crazy. It was awesome.
We talked about it on here. I mean, I still glow when I talk about it. It's just one of those
It was
things.
so cool. It really felt like you went back in time for that.
Yeah. There was no broadcast, no scoring pile line, nothing.
Nothing.
So I don't even know that I want to go see Wilkesboro with a repave now.
Right.
Because that was such a, like, that's it for me. It's like when you've seen the best, how do you go back and watch any of the rest?
Right.
Like, it's be a step back. So
you're going to put that on a t-shirt?
Maybe. When you've seen the best, how do you watch the rest?
Right.
Race Car Spell Backwards podcast. Maybe.
You have to have like a graphic on the shirt with like Fox News. A cameraman.
Zoomed in. It says Fox, but all you can see is the O.
Just like the corner of the X.
Yeah. So Joey Logano takes the lead after a 2-tire pit stop that puts him out first. He ends up running a total of 180 so laps on his right side tires. I don't personally think tires should last that long. What do you think, John?
Absolutely not. 2 tires should not last you 180 laps at Martinsville. Anywhere. Shouldn't last you that many laps anywhere.
No, it's completely unacceptable. Like, completely unacceptable.
It's crazy. Like, I don't know. Your tires should start to fall off by 100 laps. Like, you should be at least...
They should be blowing.
Yeah.
Not just falling off.
They should literally.
I mean, Christopher Bell's tire fell off, but it shouldn't be like that kind of fall off. Like, they could have legit ran that whole race yesterday on 3 sets of tires. I mean, we didn't have tire problems.
No.
I mean, at the end of the race, the 42 blew a brake rotor. Not even a tire.
Not even.
His tires were still in great condition. He's going to use those tires again at Texas, probably. We got to get this fixed. There's zero, like I said, there's zero excuses for it. Now, it was nice to see Chase Elliott leading some laps yesterday.
Yeah.
But he didn't really have anything for William Byron.
No.
Seems to me Byron really has this new car figured out. Because once William Byron got out front yesterday, he was gone. My question to you, John, is William Byron the next Jimmy Johnson?
See, that's a hard one. That's a hard statement to make. William Byron, he's great in the next gen car. But is he? I don't think he's a Jimmy Johnson.
I mean, kind of with you. I think William Byron wins more championships than Jeff Gordon. And
so more than 4.
Yep. And more races than Denny Hamlin.
It depends on how many.
But Denny Hamlin.
I was about to say, Denny's still doing great. So it depends on how many he puts up and how long he keeps racing.
Do you know how many races Denny Hamlin's currently won?
Denny has currently 53 Cup Series.
So I think wins. William, he's in his 20s.
He's currently at 14.
I could see William.
On a 7th.
Maybe, I think he wins 50.
William Byron is currently on a 7th season. This is his 7th season in the sport. 14 wins. 11 of those wins are in the next gen car. Denny Hamlin, I think this is his 20th year, maybe a little more.
He's old.
Yeah, but
we're almost the same age.
But he has 53 wins in 20 years. Could William Byron do it? Yes. If other people start to get better in this next gen car, or if NASCAR changes the car, changes the tire, maybe does he still?
Have the advantage.
Does he still retain this kind of dominance we've been seeing out of him since the next gen car?
I don't think we. Well, I don't know. He wasn't that impressive in the old car,
right?
But there's a learning curve. Yeah. Used to be rookies won a race. Rookies could win a race their first season. You don't really see that anymore. But when William Byron was in the Truck Series, I mean, he was almost unstoppable there.
Yeah, he was great in the Truck Series.
So I don't think he's the next Jimmy Johnson. I don't think I hate to say that we won't have another Jimmy Johnson, because we said we'll never have another Richard Petty, and we had Dale Earnhardt come out and win 7 championships. We said we'll never have another Dale Earnhardt. We had Jimmy Johnson win 7 championships. We're going to say we're not going to have another Jimmy Johnson.
Then someone else is going to come out and
under this current championship style. it makes it harder.
It's really hard to win 7 championships.
Like Jimmy did it when the whole chase mattered.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a one race shootout. It was a whole chase.
Yeah, there's the whole thing put together.
I mean, Jimmy Johnson won it in just about every format there is. So
true. He probably could win it today, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know that I say William Byron will win more championships than Jeff, but
4? That's a big number.
Yeah, I still think he wins multiple. I'm going to say he wins 3. I'll go 3 or 4.
Yeah,
I think, but
I can agree with that.
I still think he wins 50 something races. I mean, and that's no small feat.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
that's a superstar.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin, 13th most winningest driver of all time with 53. So winning 50, that gets you up there.
Yeah, I don't think he's the next Jimmy Johnson.
No, I mean, to put it in perspective, Jimmy Johnson in his 7th season, he had won 33 races and 2 championships. So
wow,
in his first 7 seasons.
Yeah, that puts it in perspective, really. So yeah, they're not even in the same category. But
if William Byron, if he wins the championship this year, it puts him a lot closer, in my opinion.
One of the things that really impresses me about William Byron is it's not just William Byron. It's the guy he won all his truck races with, his crew chief, Rudy Frugal, is who's with him now. Since him and Rudy have gotten back together in the Cup Series, William Byron has been way better.
Mm-hmm.
I think him and Rudy are just like Jeff and Ray Abraham was. Like when those two broke up, their careers, I'm not going to say it ended, but Jeff wasn't the same Jeff Gordon that he was under Ray Abraham.
Right.
I mean, Richard, these guys, Dale, I mean, all these guys run really good with one crew chief. And William Byron, that's what I like. William Byron came out 18th, or started 18th at Martinsville in a race that you couldn't pass. Him and Rudy worked together on pit strategy and different things to get him up there. You put him in proximity of taking the lead. His driving ability does the rest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it did take him 350 laps, but he did.
He got there.
He did make it up 18 spots,
which is something that Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson used to be really good at doing.
Yeah.
Like they would put together a whole race, and that's what you're seeing with William Byron and Rudy. They put together a whole race, and that's what it takes to win. So I don't think he's the next Jimmy, like I said, but he's definitely a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about that.
He's definitely going to be one of the greats.
So on the only green-white checker with 2 laps to go, Denny Hamlin decides to do what everyone else doesn't do and pits with 2 laps to go, going from 4th to end up finishing 11th. Can you tell me why he pitted?
No, I have no idea why he would pit there. I mean, we've talked about it every week. Tires don't matter.
Not at all.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you want to look at it from a different angle, I mean, he's running 4th. You've got 3 HMS cars, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. There is a very slim chance.
Very small.
That you are making it through that pack for the lead. So, I don't know. Maybe they're hoping for another green-white checker. Something happens, and they have to line back up and get some kind of advantage there. I don't know. That's
kind of my thought is he's got 2 wins already this season. It's still very early in the season. Why not take a risk? You're not going to beat them doing the same exact thing that they're doing.
Right.
Your only shot is to try something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went from finishing 4th to 11th. We don't know that he would have finished 4th. Right. They were beating and banging bumper cars. My initial reaction was, what are you doing? Tires have not mattered for 398 laps.
Yeah.
They're not going to matter for 2. You can go get 4 tires, restart 18th, and 100 laps, you're still in 18th.
Yeah.
Tires don't matter. But him and Gabehart, they did something different. You gotta give them credit for that, right?
Right.
So I'm okay with the decision as a fan. I like to see you take a risk, and I didn't even think about it, but like you said, if they would have got multiple green-white checkers, he's on fresher tires. these cars were only falling off like 0.3 over 50 laps.
Yeah.
But that's still 0.3. And you do that, if he can get 1 or 2 spots every restart, maybe he's back up there with a shot. Who knows?
Right.
It didn't happen, so we don't know.
Right.
But if you don't take a chance, you have no option of reaping the reward that it could bring.
Yeah.
So I'm good with it. Brad Keselowski ended up finishing 23rd yesterday.
Mhm.
Kyle Busch ended up finishing 16th yesterday. Austin Dillon finished where he should finish, in the back. But it's almost like, to me, like these veterans are still struggling with this new car. We heard Chase admit it,
Yep.
that he struggled with this new car. Denny seems like he's figured it out.
Yeah. He's been on it.
I mean, is it an age thing, do you think? Or is it just they got too comfortable with the old car? I mean, what's going on with these guys?
I think it might be a little bit of age. And I think with that age, I think it comes a little bit of stubbornness. I think, Denny said it on his podcast. All the drivers share the data. Like, they can see each other's data on how they drive this next-gen car. He even talked about it back in the day when him and Kyle Busch were still teammates. Kyle was better on the mile and a half. Denny's was better at the short tracks, and they both adapted their styles on their respective tracks to get better.
Yeah.
I think Denny Hamlin has humbled himself in a way to drive. He even admitted it, that he has changed his driving style for this new car.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, I mean, he had his injury as well. Yeah, so.
Yeah, but we're talking about Brad Keselowski hasn't won a race since 2021. I mean, he's got a lot of wins, right?
Yeah. Brad Keselowski is 24th overall in winningest driver with 35.
What about Kyle?
Kyle Busch, he's number 9. He's up there. He's got 63 wins, 2 championships. He's in the top 10.
As a Kyle Busch fan, do you feel like it's hit the panic button time?
It's been weird not seeing Kyle like at all this year or last season.
We won 3 races last year, but what was weird about that is it was like he either won or he wasn't even there.
Right. Like, it doesn't feel like Kyle Busch.
And Brad Keselowski, it's not like the team struggles because Chris Buescher, his teammate, he's got 4 victories in this new car.
Yeah.
More laps led. And I don't think Brad's forgot how to drive.
No.
I just don't think he knows how to drive this new car.
And that's why I brought up Denny Hamlin, because he has openly admitted that he has changed his driving style for this new car, and it majorly helps that everyone has the same kind of data. The cars are the exact same, so everyone's driving the same car. You've got everyone's data. Find who's running the best and run like them.
And Denny made a good point. I understand the cars being the same to add more parity, but really it's just Gibbs and Hendricks winning this season. So is that the parity we're looking for, NASCAR?
Who knows?
But not only are these cars built the same, with the data, I never thought about the data being shared. Like, that's one thing to share it within a team, but now you're sharing it across the whole organization. Like Denny Hamlin said, it takes away the advantages he had for being a good driver.
Right.
So,
and I didn't even think about all the cars being the same, because you say that and you're like, well, okay, whoever's the better driver wins. Well, everyone drives pretty much the same because they all have the same data. They all know the best. They all at this point, all the teams pretty much know, and all the drivers pretty much know the best way to drive this car. So if all the cars are the exact same, then everyone's going to run at the same speed. You don't have to conserve your tires.
No, you don't.
So that's why we have racing where Denny Hamlin can't pass Austin Dillon, who is in the back,
or Austin Cindric, who's a lap down.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it because I was listening to the Denny Hamlin's podcast on the way home. When he mentioned that all the cars are the same, I was like, not even in Formula One are the cars all the same. They have limitations, they have restrictions, and certain criteria that they need to meet when building their car,
which was how the old car used to be.
Yeah, but not even in Formula One. They say, okay, here's your here's your limitations, here's your criteria you need to meet. Teams go build a car, and then they can even adjust a few things throughout the season, and that's why Red Bull and F1 is dominating right now, because over the past couple of years they have produced by far the best car in the F1 scene.
And it'll take multiple years for the other teams in F1 to catch up to Red Bull.
Because they don't know what they're doing.
Exactly. And by the time they catch up, Red Bull's going to be that much farther ahead.
Right.
Like it's a chasing game, which is how it used to be in NASCAR.
But it's not anymore.
Right.
And that's why we get the kind of race. That's partially the reason we get the kind of racing we do at Martinsville, Richmond, every other track.
So I'll go ahead and ask you this question then. Should NASCAR be freaking out over this? I mean,
Yes.
to me, this car is absolutely ruined short tracks.
Oh.
Super speedways.
Yeah. Super speedways, short tracks, the intermediate tracks are all fine except Texas.
Road courses we don't enjoy, but the car is that good at a road course.
Right. The cars are built for road courses, basically.
Correct.
But short track racing is in desperate need of something. We need something at short tracks, whether it's more horsepower, adjusting the shifting, softer tires. I think softer tires is the easiest and best option.
I mean, Bristol was saved this year by a mistake.
Right.
I mean, they claim they don't know how they did this. Just whatever you did, even if you don't know what you did, just redo it. If the guy on the 2 a.m. shift accidentally fell asleep and something happened on the tire compound that we don't know about, bring him back. Give him a raise.
Let him fall asleep and say, okay, you got to go to sleep between these hours.
I mean, you
got
got
those tires back.
Richmond is known as the action track.
There was no action.
No, nothing happened at Richmond. Phoenix is so boring. It's like the only reason anybody watches the last Phoenix race of the year is because they want to know who's going to win the championship.
Right.
Dover used to be fun to watch. It's not fun anymore.
Mm-mm.
Darlington's probably one of my favorite tracks in NASCAR history. And it's horrible with this new car. North Wilkesboro was a snooze fest last year when they went from racing or wet tire to slicks. It was great on the wet tire.
Right.
I say we just run every race on the wet tire from now on.
Yeah.
There's fall off there.
I know. And I think Bristol is what makes it even harder to watch this year.
Because
we've seen it.
Yeah.
We've said, okay, you give us tire fall off, maybe not to that level, but you give us tire fall off, and we're gonna have a better race.
Correct.
Like we've seen that. We've seen it. We saw it at Richmond on the wet tires when the track started to dry a little bit around lap 10, 15, and then the tires started wearing, and the people who were better at conserving those tires were making people were passing. Then they put on the slicks, and then it was a snooze fest for the rest of the race.
NASCAR was built on short track racing. I don't know, maybe newer fans don't know what they're missing. And if you don't know what you're missing, they're on YouTube.
Go watch them.
Go watch these old, I mean, the bump and run, like I know you don't know what that is anymore, but like.
Rubbin's racing.
I just wanted to rattle his cage. I mean, Dale Earnhardt and Terry Labonte at Bristol.
Oh,
I mean, I can go on. Dale Earnhardt, Terry Labonte at Bristol. Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace at Bristol.
Yep.
Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon at Bristol. Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace at Bristol. I saw Stephen Wallace and Bobby Hamilton Jr. just fist fight it out in a bush race one time at Bristol. I mean, Bristol was great. Bristol produced action.
It was Bristol, baby.
Yes, that's where it's Bristol, baby. It used to mean something to win Bristol. And honestly, Denny Hamlin won Bristol this year. That should mean something to Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to use talent.
He had to race.
Yeah. He had to do what Denny knows how to do. I mean, Denny comes from the late model stock cars.
Yeah.
He knows what it means to save your tires. He did it.
Yep.
I mean, we saw that. The old cagey veterans were the guys who did a best job at saving their tires. So,
yep.
Now, I will say Elton Sawyer, who comes out every Tuesday on XM Radio to apologize for what happened over the weekend, came out again this week. And he said NASCAR's working with Goodyear to fix this. All I heard him say there was, this is Goodyear's fault. I do think it's on both of them. But you give me that Bristol tire, I think you'll improve the racing by 50%. You give me more horsepower and the Bristol tire, you improve the racing by 75-80%.
Yeah. Because what were they doing here at Martinsville? 40, 45?
Yeah, I mean, they're probably entering the turn at over 100 miles an hour, and the brakes on this thing are massive.
Oh, I know.
It's not like the old brakes that worked half the time. These brakes work all the time.
Yeah.
This is a sports car. You know, and all we hear from NASCAR is, oh, it's cheaper on the team, it's cheaper this, it's cheaper that. No team owner has come out. Denny Hamlin's been very vocal that it costs more now. And I even heard, I don't remember what podcast it was on, but they were saying this new car, like David Starr, finished 37th, like 300 laps down or something. But for him to get in a car, he could buy this car without the motor for around $450,000. Then he has to buy a motor. The old car, $150,000.
It's not even close.
No.
It's not even close.
So I think the whole point of it's cheaper is the old car, they'd have like 30 or 40 cars in the garage.
Right.
Not in the garage at the track, but at the team shop.
Yeah.
Or airspeed, whatever Denny calls it. You know, they would have all these cars there. With the new car, you race your Daytona car at Sonoma. You race the same car you run at Daytona and Sonoma, you're running at Bristol. I mean, you got guys at Bristol going, I can't wreck this car. I need to run it at Talladega.
Right.
That's unheard of. In the old days, they built cars specific for 1.5 miles, super speedways, and road courses. They had Daytona cars. Their Daytona 500 car, they would work on it for months.
I know. And I mean, you hear some of the stories, like, sometimes you'll see clips of, like, sometimes you'll get, like, the engineers or the mechanics be like, we've been working on this car for 6-7 months and
getting it ready.
Getting it ready for the Daytona 500. You never hear that anymore.
No, and I think it takes away from it. I mean, I can remember back in the day hearing them argue over, do we put a wrap on our Daytona 500 car or do we hand paint everything on there? And a lot of them would hand paint it because that gloss was smoother. It wouldn't be but a small fraction faster in the wind tunnel. But they would get out there and hand paint all those graphics on the car.
Yeah.
To make it go that much faster. Because that could be the margin it takes to win the Daytona 500.
I think it also kind of, like, I think one of the cool things, I watch a little bit of F1, watch a race here and there, keep up with it. You know, F1, you can hear all these statistics about the cars, and you can hear the mechanics talk about the engineers talking about the car, how much fun they have designing these cars, how much fun they have building these cars, testing these cars to make these cars as fast as possible. You don't hear that anymore. I would hate to be an engineer in NASCAR.
Well, they don't build anything at these shops anymore. It's not like they buy everything now, which that's taken away from the ingenuity.
Yeah. The
innovation, as Dale Jr. likes to call it. So I'm not happy with this new car at all. I think that when they get done running the race Sunday at Texas, everybody should leave their cars in the infield, exit the track, and just burn it all down. Leave all the next gen cars and the track, burn it to the ground. Look, Texas has a great little dirt track out there. Why can't we put like a Bristol? Why can't we build Martinsville with Bristol banking? Do that in Texas.
Just put that in Texas.
That's the most Texas thing ever.
Yep.
Make the banking even more. Make it bigger. Or put a 3-mile track on dirt. I don't care. Do something. Put gravel in the corners. I mean, what we got at Texas ain't gonna cut it. But
yeah.
So this weekend wasn't just a regular race at Martinsville for 4 drivers. For the HMS team, this was the 40th anniversary of when the team won that race at Martinsville. Jeff Bodine, Harry Hyde, they begged they begged Rick Hendrick, let us go run this race. Car's ready. We can do it. Rick let them go run it. They won it. The rest is history. Chase Elliott.
4 years of HMS.
Yeah. Chase Elliott on that last restart started right behind William Byron. You think he was going to wreck him?
No, absolutely not.
He'd have been fired. I mean, there's no way. I mean, now, let me ask you this. Were you aware that it was the 40th anniversary? Did Fox make that clear enough for you?
No, I think they needed to show it or talk about it at least 2 or 3 more times before it really stuck.
So every 4 or 5 laps wasn't enough for you?
No, I think it should have been like every time one of the HMS cars went over the start-finish line.
Didn't they mention it?
Yeah.
So it might be 40th anniversary, 40th anniversary, 40th anniversary, 40th anniversary. Because they were all in the top 10.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, let's throw out a little NASCAR conspiracy here. You have 4 HMS drivers. HMS wanting a storybook finish, which they got. Jeff Gordon kept saying it couldn't have been scripted any better. Fox had been talking about them winning the race all day, pretty much.
Yeah.
It almost felt scripted.
Almost.
Then they finished 1, 2, 3, 7.
Yep.
First off, I'm calling Bowman going, hey man, what the heck? Your other guys did it.
Yeah.
We could have had a 1, 2, 3, 4, but no, you got to finish back here 7th. Like, let's go, boy. Hook it up. Let's get up there. But no cars went back to R&D. That's not abnormal. NASCAR doesn't always take cars back, but when one team finishes 1, 2, 3 and runs that strong all day long, they led pretty much the whole race. Other than Denny Hamlin, HMS was leading the race.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they cheated.
It's a possibility.
There's a really good possibility.
I don't know, but you think about it. Larson's great. I mean, he started on pole, right? Larson? Yeah. So, I mean, we're at Martinsville on next gen car. You can't pass. So, Larson being up front, okay. Chase Elliott, he did good.
He led.
He led some laps. I mean, Chase Elliott, he's been improving over the past couple of races, so it's not a big shocker to see it. And then William Byron, he's the most winningest driver in the next gen car. Could it be a conspiracy? Could they have cheated?
I mean,
yes, they absolutely could have.
Dale Jr. raced in an Xfinity race, only one, for Richard Childress Racing in the number 3 yellow and blue, like this, Wrangler car. At the end of that race, Dale Jr. was leading. Nobody tried to pass him. It was the most storybook ending you could have ever asked for. Like, the whole day was electric. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in the number 3 car that looks just like the car his daddy drove.
Mm-hmm.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. won that race. I remember Greg Biffle was behind him, and I'm screaming, "You better not wreck him! You better not wreck him!" When I was jumping up and down, flipping couches over. I mean, I watched my daddy flip over a coffee table at my great grandmother's house one time when Dale Earnhardt won the race. I was acting the same way when Dale Jr. won that Xfinity race in that number 3 car, but nobody was going to pass him.
I wouldn't have passed him.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like it. No, I don't think it's scripted, but if they were cheating, they pass post-race inspection.
Yeah.
But there's things you can do that aren't caught during post-race inspection. I think they was probably doing it. Every bit of creativity, ingenuity that they had built into them, they put in those 4 cars.
Absolutely.
NASCAR wouldn't gonna take that 40th anniversary win away.
No.
I mean, they have.
Could you imagine that?
They have 1,500 employees at the track.
That's
they
the
would
only
have
reason
stormed the building.
It's the only reason there was a 38% yes on the Jeff Flood poll.
It would have been worse than the crowd. The crowd would have went even more bonkers than they did when Dale Sr. wrecked Terry Labonte.
Yeah.
I mean, Dale Sr. My dad was at that race, and he said when he was leaving, he almost wanted to cover up the 3 on his shirt because the Terry Labonte fans were so mad at Dale Earnhardt. So, all right, John, let's talk about the elephant in the room. We've waited to the end of the show to go off on this, and this is the point of the show where I might go into a rant.
Maybe
I'm gonna try not to, but
I'll be impressed.
The other podcasts, they don't really get into this because they're all in the race or work the booth or on the spotter stand. But let's talk about Fox. Fox is covering these races like they don't care at all.
No.
I mean, you've watched them.
It's really hard. I just want to watch the race, man.
Yeah, Friday night.
I just want to enjoy the race.
We're watching the truck race Friday night, and we're both literally screaming at the TV.
Zoom out.
Zoom out. Zoom out. We can't see. I could tell you what Christian Eckes ate for breakfast. They zoomed in so close. I mean, John Hunter Nemechek had a pimple he needed to pop. I could see it through his visor. That's how close we are. It's bad, man.
It really is.
Like, Saturday, the Xfinity race, they missed the wreck. They showed, they got a quarter of it, but they missed 3/4 of the wreck at the end.
Yeah.
Sunday, the booth is going crazy about a wreck that's happening on the track. Did Fox show a replay ever?
No, they never.
Thanks to Twitter, we got to see a replay. But it took a fan in the stands to do a better job than what Fox does. And then the truck race, we already said they don't know anything but 55 times zoom. I mean, it's ridiculous. And when a car wins the race, there's 36 other cars on the track. When the leader crosses the start-finish line,
he wins.
He's won. We don't need to keep the camera on him. He's not going to do anything spectacular.
We don't have to watch him go around the track for another 3 laps.
Show the rest of the race. That's all. I mean, show everybody coming across the start-finish line. Show the wrecks that are happening that we're missing.
Yeah.
I mean, the Truck Series broadcast is a joke.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they literally make fun of fans the whole time with the stupid little skits they put on. I mean,
oh my gosh, that one skit with the
trophy.
Oh yeah, and the championship races.
Yeah,
it's like this isn't Nickelodeon Jr. or whatever.
Oh, Nickelodeon. Speaking of Nick Jr., last year they'd had a stupid watermelon seed singing a song hanging off the corner of somebody's mouth.
Oh gosh,
like it was ridiculous. I mean, it's so bad. Even Sunday was bad. Like, and I think Sunday was bad because the Cup race was horrible. So Clint and them had nothing to talk about. So all they literally talked about was
HMS.
HMS. Every 3 to 4 laps. It was HMS's 40th anniversary. Those Ruby cars. Look at all them Ruby T-shirts down there. Hey, Michael, can you go find the oldest employee that they have at HMS here at the track today? I was here when Jeff Bodine won your race. I remember. That's great, but that's an interview you show before the race, not mid-race,
But to be fair, we didn't miss anything.
No, I mean, I'm with you there, but come up with something better.
Right.
For half the season, Fox does the truck race from a basement in Charlotte with tube TVs stacked up behind them. I could do a better job. I wouldn't let Fox do a bar mitzvah or a marble race on YouTube. Like, it is literally, they're that bad.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
The truck race is almost unwatchable.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, you had Clint Boyer talking about Christopher Bell when his tire came off and got stuck in the wheel well. He's like, oh, he got into somebody. And they're zoomed in so close, we know he didn't hit nobody.
We can't see no scratches.
There wasn't a scratch, a dent, a smudge. There was nothing on the side of that car. But because they have no camera guys watching anything except the leaders,
we don't know.
We never saw the replay.
We don't know.
When they had wrecks, they would show, they're still zoomed in on 2 cars and they're circling the top of the screen going, if you squint real hard and close one eye and stick your tongue out and look up in the right-hand corner, you can almost see the wreck happening.
Yeah.
Like, this is bad.
Like I said, it feels like a joke.
It's like they don't care. Like, are they just paying all this money to make fun of us all year?
Conspiracy time.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. I mean, it truly feels like Fox wants the NFL to get the most TV ratings.
So they just destroy everything.
Correct.
Else.
They make NASCAR look as stupid as possible. I mean, NASCAR's already accused of being a bunch of good old stupid boy rednecks and stuff like that. I mean, it's a Southern sport. I get it.
Yeah.
Most of the a lot of the fans sound like me. I understand why you say that, but that's not how it really is. And Fox, it's like, hey, they're just idiots. We can give them anything and they'll be happy.
No, I'm not happy.
I can't listen to the race because Dave Moody makes fun of fans all week long and berates them and tells them how stupid they are. And then he expects people to get on the radio on Sunday and listen to him and, oh, Dave Moody's so great. Nah,
No.
I'm not doing it. You're not going to talk down to me and treat me like that all week and think I'm going to support you in your job on Sunday.
Right.
It's just not happening. So I'll be honest. I prefer not to even watch the truck races. I'll watch them the first half of the year because they're at the booth, in the booth at least. But when they get out of the booth, I watch the highlights on YouTube. I can't do it.
Yeah.
So knowing what you know, seeing what you see from Fox, would you recommend your friends to watch this stuff?
No.
I mean, would they be mad at you?
Probably. They'd probably come to my house and be like, dude, what the heck?
I mean,
why are you making me watch this crap?
If NASCAR's goal is to bring in new, younger fans, then they've got to do something about this. They got to fix the car. If they don't fix the car, then
it all goes downhill.
Yeah.
You ruin everything.
The sport can't survive many more years. I mean,
we're on third season of the next gen car, and it's
getting
exhausting.
worse.
It's exhausting.
Getting worse.
I mean, it's just exhausting because we've had 3 years of the same stuff. Now you can make the argument that NASCAR's like, okay, we tried it for 3 years. Okay, now let's do something about it. Like, It's been 3 years. Let's start making some changes. It's not working. Let's do something more than, we tweaked the right front fender just a little bit on the aerodynamics.
Look, they're running 45 miles an hour in the corner at Martinsville. Do you really think aerodynamics plays a role there?
Exactly. Like,
I mean, we saw Jeremy Clements on Saturday running around with no front end, no hood, and he was still running the top, on the lead lap. So
it's not aero.
It's not
obviously not aero. Please, let's do some tires.
I really think give them more horsepower because then the driver has to manage how much power he gives the car.
Yeah.
Give me a softer tire, and that horsepower and a softer tire together, it helps.
It really does.
Just give it to us. I mean,
just try it, please.
Yeah.
Just do something. Do something. That's all.
Run one race like that. I mean,
it's all I want at this point is for them to just do something, anything.
It's like in Days of Thunder when they went out and he said, "You give me 50 laps your way, 50 laps my way. I'll beat you every time you give me an honest run." NASCAR, give us one race, more horsepower, softer tires. See what happens.
Please.
If it's no better, then we'll close the series down.
Fair point.
Then we need a new car.
Yeah. Then it's a really bad problem.
Yeah. Then we've went. I mean, Denny Hamlin said it best. If they do nothing and we don't change, we get what we deserve.
Yeah.
And people aren't going to keep watching.
Mm-mm.
So, you got anything else before we get ready to close this out?
I'll say one last thing about Fox, and because they have their whole, I don't know, their portraits of the drivers.
Oh yeah, that you don't like that? You don't
No.
like the cartoon characters?
I hate the cartoon characters. I mean,
me and Jamie have literally complained about that for 89 episodes.
I hate the cartoon characters. To me, NASCAR drivers, race car drivers in general, are cool. Like, these are cool guys. They're going in these 3,000-pound, 600, 800, big V8 race cars running side by side for hundreds of miles. These guys are cool.
Yeah,
and
they're doing something we can't do.
Right. Like, I can't get out there. Well, maybe on the next gen car. But I can't get out there and do what these guys do. These guys, I mean, you've got the race in the Coliseum. It's like gladiators. Like, these are modern day gladiators jumping in these giant, death machines and running around racetrack for hundreds of miles. They're supposed to be cool. And then you got these stupid cartoon characters that Fox puts up.
It's like, this ain't Disney, dude.
I hope not.
That's what it feels like. I mean, it's like they got cartoon characters. Kyle Busch hasn't had abs ever. And in his character, he has abs. Like, there's nobody. Like, I don't even think Jace thinks this is cool. There's nobody, anybody of any age thinks this is cool. It's just not. I'll be honest, John. I volunteered on Twitter for like 4 years in a row to take my iPhone down to Daytona and take a picture of every single driver for free. I'll drive down on my dime. I'll use my phone. I'll use my fees to send you the text messages with all the pictures. I don't care. I will gladly take real life photos of these drivers. I mean, our buddy Brandon out in Seattle, he's a photographer. He'll get on an airplane and fly out to wherever and take these guys pictures for you. Like,
yeah, it's
Stop.
Fox obviously is not treating the sport seriously, and I hate to see it because I love the sport. I think it's cool what these guys do. I think every single NASCAR driver, even the ones I don't like, are way more talented than I'll ever be. So cool.
We get mad and complain about this because we love NASCAR.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a fourth generation NASCAR fan. I mean, my grandfather loved NASCAR. I mean, he recorded it on VHS tape on Sunday, and we watched it back during the week to break it down. Like, I can remember when he retired, we would sit there during the middle of the week watching races on VHS. That's how much he loved NASCAR. My dad loved NASCAR. My dad took me to races. I can remember being at Atlanta, skipping school when I was just a wee little tot, freezing my butt off on a Monday to watch the Cup race with my dad.
Yeah.
I've taken you to the racetrack since you were born. I mean, we love racing,
right.
And that's why this upsets us so much. Like, all we want is racing. That's all I want back. I just want racing back. Let's make NASCAR great again, please.
Yeah.
Like, it's broke.
It really is.
We need to fix it. So this weekend we have Texas. It's going to be we're going trout fishing. That's what kind of race it's going to be. But it is at 3 p.m. on Sunday. It's going to be on FS1 and PRN. It is a 1.5 mile boring track. Honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to it after Richmond and Martinsville, these two short track debacles. But
who knows? Maybe for whatever reason it'll rain and we'll run the wet weather tires.
I don't think they'll run wet weather tires. They ain't gonna run these sprinkle tires on 1.5 mile tracks. But that would be cool.
Yeah.
Let's just use the wet weather tires, period. Even on dry. Who cares? So really, that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, that's
all right.
Covered it all.
Thanks to everyone who watches, listens to the show, shares this on social media. I want to give a big shout out to my mom, your Mimi, grandma. They share this show on social media with everybody. Shout out to their Sunday school class. Like, I know their whole Sunday school class watches this show now. We greatly appreciate every one of you ladies. We love you. Thank you for watching the show each week. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. We're at Car Backwards. Everybody else, share it with your Sunday school class too. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out all our videos and all our shorts. You can check us out on Spotify. Make sure you follow us there and rate us. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review like Brandon did. Every review you leave us, it helps other people find the show. They might enjoy us too. We want all the people to find us that can. If you feel the need that you need to email us, feel free to do it. We're racecarbackwardspod@gmail.com. And make sure to check out our merch store. It's found at racecarbackwards.threadless.com. Otherwise, y'all have a good week, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.